Welcome to Of Two Mindsets. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Dee Hill, and we are continuing on our initiative to record and talk to people who have interesting life stories and who have interesting histories and jobs and things of that sort. And today we have a really special guest that I'm going to introduce in a few seconds. But first, let's talk to the people we know who's always here. My man, my mellow, RJ. RJ, how's it going today?
Yeah, I'm always here. I'm always here. That was funny. You cold
Uh,
blooded. I'm good.
oh no, no, I didn't mean it that way. I wasn't even
Oh,
thinking.
okay.
Some things are just subconscious, I guess.
Oh, okay. I'm
That's
good,
all.
brother. Everything's fine. Everything
It's,
is fine.
it's good to see you.
Yeah.
On the other side of RJ, we have the one and only Mr. Izzy. Izzy, how are you today, sir?
Man, I'm good. I'm good. Busy day, but I'm good.
Seems like everybody had a busy day. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
let me introduce you all to our special guest. So, there's very few people that I can say I've known longer than just about anybody I know, but I think we've known each other at least since maybe he was born.
Yep.
And, we grew up in the same neighborhood, and he's traveled all over and done his thing. And we lost touch with each other for a while, but he's lived a very, very interesting life. And we have reconnected, and the stories he's told me are just incredible. So I want to introduce you all to Lil Charlie. Let's give it up for Lil Charlie in the house.
Thank
How
you.
you
Bless
doing,
you.
sir?
I'm doing well, thank you.
It's good to see you. You look great.
Thank you. Thank you. So do you, my brother.
So, Izzy, you are instrumentalist. You play several instruments, but nobody that I know personally plays the guitar better than Lil Charlie.
That's one thing I wanted to
Oh
learn how
man,
to play too.
you too much, man. You too much, man.
No, no, it's true. It's true. I've heard you play, and you're
Thank you.
impressive,
Thank
bro.
you.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you, my brother. Thank you.
When did you learn to play the guitar?
I actually was self-taught after leaving Sandersville. I left and got to Atlanta and started hanging around quartet singers. And I snuck off from my dad's house one night. The Soul Searchers and the Fantastic Violinaires were singing at the Atlanta Civic Center. And I snuck off from dad's house and went down, and I was standing there watching, all these major guitar players. I'm watching them play. And I said, man, I want to do that because I knew how to play drums. But I didn't know how to play guitar. So I went back to dad's house, got my spanking. After he gave him a spanking, he said, I'm gonna get you a guitar. And so he got me a guitar, and I basically self-taught myself a lot of it. A lot of my early beginnings was self-taught.
Wow. Wow. Like what age was that approximately?
I would say around 12, 13, somewhere along in there.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
12, 13. Because you got to remember when I left Sandersville, it was around that time when Dad came and scooped me up and took me back because, let's be a realist, I was a very rambunctious child. And I gave my mother a little trouble, and so she felt that it was best if I, went with Dad, someone with a firm and stern hand. But that didn't work. I got even worse when I got to Atlanta.
I got
Yeah,
you.
man.
So when you say rambunctious, what else besides sneaking to play the guitar?
Uh, man, smoking cigarettes, man. Um, I remember, I remember going to this gas station up the street from the house, and me and Dad was almost the same size, even at my age, and so I would have on his uniform. He worked for Vandenberg Butter Company, and so I would put on his uniform and go up to the store, and I would buy these cigarettes called Moors. These great
Wow.
big long cigarettes, man, they about that long, great big long ones. And I would go in there and I throw a little butter, they give me a pack of bulls. They give me a pack of bulls, and I walk out there for a long time. Those people did not know I was underage.
Wow.
They
Wow.
did not know, man. They did not know. And then I started dibbing and dabbing with the drinking, and You know, and I did that for a long time. Not something I'm proud of because, you know, anybody that understands that life, once you get into music, some people can, you know, sustain from doing crazy stuff, and then others they fall into it. And so I managed to allow myself to fall into a lifestyle that was not pleasing to not even God. And so I ended up doing the drinking and clowning and cutting the fool. And I messed around, met a group, in Atlanta called the Inspirations. And the lead singer that they had at the time was a well-known lead singer named Willie Slaughter.
Okay.
And Slaughter took me up on his wings, and I would go to Slaughter's house, and he would sit me down and try to talk to me, but I was so hard-headed. I didn't want to hear anything. He said to me all the time. He said, "Son, let age catch up with you."
About what
Not
age?
you.
About what age
I was
were
about,
you?
I had
that
done turned
time?
like 13 then. I
Gotcha.
done turned about 13 then.
Right.
And like I said, I didn't wear what the kids was wearing. You know, when I did go to school, I wore suits. I wore suits and dress shoes. I was called the preacher's boy, which I was. My dad was a bishop, so
Wow.
you know, I was called the preacher's boy, and I was fine with that. You know, I only would get out of sorts if you rag me too much. If you rag me too much about it, I would get upset because now I think you're making fun of it. You know, don't do
Right.
that. But I just got crazy, man.
So you mentioned that you were a preacher's boy. That had to be pretty tough, or was it?
It was a challenge. It was a challenge because I didn't want to tarnish Daddy's name, and then I didn't want to mess me up because along this time I had done started kind of grooming. You know, I'm playing with a lot of groups in Atlanta, playing with groups on the road, and people are beginning to know who I am. And Dad wasn't no corner store preacher. You know, a lot of people knew who Daddy was, and he had a reputation as well. And so I didn't want to, you know, hurt him by, you know, being foolish and everything. But I still ended up doing it, um, which is crazy. You know, you ever been in a situation where you don't want to do it, but some just keep pulling you. You know, come on, let's. You know, it'll be okay. You know, ain't nobody gonna know. You know, and I did it so much. I did it so much until it started showing. You know, Mom used to say all the time, you know, a lie will crawl away, but the truth gonna stand. So
Right.
when all of that foolishness I had going on, it started leaking out. You know, my dad was like, you know, you doing something you ain't got no business. And I was like, no, Dad, I ain't doing nothing. I ain't doing nothing. Yeah, you doing something. You doing something. And rest his soul, he set me down one night and he begged me. He said, son, I watched so many of our kin people on my side of the family. I watched them die and get strung out on drugs and alcohol and all kind of, you know, stuff. And I just don't want that for you. And I want you to live better. I want you to live a life that's pleasing to God. And I tried it. I did. I won't lie. I tried it. But at that age, you know, you don't want to just read the Bible. You don't want to just go to church all the time. You know, you want excitement.
Of course.
I'm sorry,
Of course.
Lil Charlie. What age? What age are you talking about? So what age were you performing
We
like with
still
the
talking about
groups?
around 13, bro.
Around 13
We
years
still talking
old.
about around 13, bro.
Wow. Okay.
I was an advanced 13-year-old, way
So you were like
beyond
a
my years.
prodigy. Okay. All right.
Well, I mean, if you say that, I appreciate it.
All right.
But yeah. You know, I was well advanced, beyond my years. Yeah, way advanced, beyond my years. And
Definitely, if you were playing with a group, most definitely is.
bruh, listen, the Lord has blessed me to do a lot of things in my life that have really boosted my career, far as a professional musician and a professional singer. I slowed down on the traveling, you know, a few years ago because of a lot of things that happened. You know, had some tragedy and had a couple of tragedies, and then my health started failing, and so I kind of bagged up a little bit. But they still call. They still want me. They still want me to go, and I'd be like, bro, I'm okay. I'm okay.
Hey, Dee.
Yo,
Yes, sir.
Before we get too deep into his early life, I felt like it would probably be good to get an audience a synopsis of why you invited him on. Like if you could give them a little rundown of what made you choose to bring him on,
sure.
that you
And
thought they would be interested in.
Lil Charlie is an accomplished traveling artist. Am I right to say that,
You
sir?
said it right. You said that
And
right.
you also have a story of overcoming. You hinted at the health issues, which we'll get into, which I think you are an incredible person in that.
Thank you.
The
Thank you.
looking at you now, no one would ever be able to imagine the things that you've overcome. So this
Absolutely.
is a story about overcoming and
Yes.
perseverance, if you ask me.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
so did you grow up wealthy, would you say?
No, no. I didn't grow up wealthy. My dad, after I moved to Atlanta with my dad did the best he could. My dad would get up, go to work from 4 o'clock in the morning to 3 in the evening, and he would get off work and go to a section of Atlanta called Buckhead, and he would cut grass till the sun go down to make sure that his son was straight. And he did that just about all my life. I never really wanted for anything. Uh, a lot of things. Let me say it like this: a lot of things that I wanted, he didn't give it to me because he said, if I give you everything you want, you'll never understand the importance of the things that you need in life. So, a lot of times he wouldn't give me what I wanted, but he always made sure that I had what I need. And because of that, I guess you can say I grew up middle class. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he wasn't poor, he wasn't rich neither. And he pretty much, did what was godly and right by me. Yeah.
Gotcha. When did you start traveling as a performer?
The very first program that I done, I was 12. The Fantastic Violinaires out of Detroit, Michigan.
Wow.
Reverend Charlie Brown. That's why they called me Lil Charlie, because I was with Charlie for years. Charlie Brown came to Dad, told Dad, he said, this boy got a gift, and I want to take him on the road. And Dad was against it at first. He said, "No, I don't want him out there. He can stay here. If y'all singing in town, he can come play." At that time, I had a voice, I could sing, and they liked it. We call it fifth. They liked it, my fifth singing. And so Dad was like, no, he was real reluctant at first. But then after he sat down, I guess he must have prayed about it. He come in the room that night and he said, well, I'm going to let you go this one time. And if it's any mishaps, you won't be going no more. So he called, at that time, the violin manager was J.C. Smith. JC had left his number. He called JC and told JC, okay, I'm going to let him go. But if y'all let anything happen to my son, it's going to be a problem. So they came and got me. We went to the first place I ever sung at was Rock Hill, South Carolina. Wow. We got to Rock Hill. The place was packed.
Were you nervous?
I was very nervous, man. I was so nervous, man. I was shaking like a leaf. I'm like, dog, I ain't used to, singing all these people. We talking about 1,500, 1,600 people. I'm like, whoa, this is too much. So anyhow, we get in the dressing room. JC comes sit next to him. He said, look, youngster, calm down. You're gonna be all right. Just calm down. And the road guys, they have this concoction that they would make to calm your nerve. So he gave me a cap full of it. He said, this here gonna calm you down. So he gave me a cap full of it, man. About 5 or 6 minutes later, boy, I was loose as a goose. I was ready to go to the stage. Got out there on the stage, man. We did our thing. I just know that I'm finna go home at that time with a nice piece of money in my pocket. Doc, when they started busting down the money, when he got to me, he took 2 quarters out of his pocket and laid them on the table. I looked at him. I said, what is that? He said, that's your pay. I said, wait a minute. I get 50 cents. He said, youngster, You ain't a member. When you become a member, you'll get a full split. Right now, you don't get but 50 cents. I said, but why 50 cents? He said, because you don't need nothing else. Charlie taking care of you. He buying your food. If you go to the hotel, he getting a room for you and him, so you don't need no money. I was like, really, man, look, I was saying some things that God didn't like. I was really putting it down, bro.
I know that, right?
I was putting it down, bro.
So how much, if you had to guess, or if you know about how much did the members get like that night?
They got $250 a piece.
And you got 50 cents.
I got 50 cents.
Sounds fair.
Yeah.
So were there other people your age doing what you were doing at that time that you were aware of?
Casey and the Haley Singers. You all may know him as Casey and Jodeci. At the time, they had a gospel group called the Haley Singers. And myself, Casey, Pee Wee, we were the only 3 children on the road. Wow. We crossed paths a lot. We crossed, especially around Augusta and the South Carolina area, down around Florida. We always crossed each other because that was a hotbed for quartet singers during that time. And people was just going crazy. Well, they always did love the violin because the violin had a distinct sound. It was different. And couldn't nobody sing like them. I never forget one time we went to to this white man's office. Charlie and them took me with him. And it was him and Blair. And they was talking to this white executive. And the man looked at Charlie, he said, when you gonna bring them women in here so I can meet them? Charlie said, what women? He said, the women that's singing behind you. He said, man, them ain't no women. He said, what? He said, them ain't no women. Them men, bro. Them ain't no women. That's just how high these guys used to sing. Yeah, man. Yeah. And you know, even with the older guys now, they can still do it, but they're not as good as they used to be. Everybody that aged, you know, got sick, got fat, you know, can't move. You know what I'm saying? So time has brought about a change.
Gotcha. So mentioning getting sick, when did you first started having some of these issues that you've been dealing with lately?
Well, I had slacked up from being on the road, and it was around 2015.
How long had you been on the road at this time before your issues started happening?
We had been on the road from the age of 13 all the way up to I married Deborah when I was 21. I guess I had to be about 19. I was about 19 when my issues started, because a year after I got diagnosed with lupus, we went out to California, and I met a girl. And she flew me back to California. I left my first wife, which we weren't married then, but I left her to go back to Cali. I got out to Cali and realized that I had made a mistake. I'm trying to come home.
Wait a minute. You did what now? Did you say
I left Deborah? I left Deborah.
Deborah was your first wife?
Deborah was my first wife.
Okay.
I left Deborah. We young and everything. So we go out to Cali, man. We do a 3-week tour, man. We go from Bakersfield, Fresno, Oakland, Tarzana, Santa Cruz. We just all over the joint. So we got to Fresno. It was my birthday. And so the guys decided they would throw me a little milkshake birthday party. So, man, they went and bought beer and liquor and all this old foolishness. So we sitting in the room getting about half lit. The beer run out, so I run to the store. I get to the store, and it's this girl. And me and her is talking, and she's like, well, you know, if you, you know, get bored or whatever, you know, come back, I get off work or whatever.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's the worst mistake that I could have ever done in my life. I mean, that's one of the, listen, man, let me tell you something, bro. You all do know what MS-13 is, right?
Yeah.
Tell us
what MS-13 is, right?
Tell us what that is.
It's the Mexican mafia.
Right.
This girl was a girlfriend of a capo.
Yeah, you messed up
in that game.
Wow.
She was the girlfriend. of a capo. And so I goes back to, because we was in our room, and my brother, my god brother, and the guitar player was just, oh man, they was just going crazy because they were looking for, let's be real. You get on the road, you get lonely, you're looking for a woman, and that's what they was doing. They couldn't find nobody. So they done scared her because they talking to her like they finna rape her. So she done got
Oh my
scared.
goodness.
She said, we can go back to my place if you want to. And I said, I'm not really comfortable with that. Because I really don't know you. I don't know what you into. And how far is your place in out? She was like, it's right around the corner. I said, let's go. So we go, and I wasn't even in the house 5 minutes. And all of a sudden I hear these keys jingling.
Oh,
and I said, who is that? She said, that's my boyfriend. I said, your boyfriend? I jumped out the window. From a split level house. I jumped out the window from upstairs. Wow. I land in some bushes. When I get in the bushes, I'm taking off running. Where they stayed at, it was like a hill. So as I'm going up the hill, I can hear him raising all kind of sand. I know somebody was in here. Somebody been in here. He just climbed and cut the food. So about 5 minutes after I get to the top of the hill, they pull up next to me. And I say, Lord, I'm dead. I'm dead. This is my final curtain. I'm dead.
So you landed in the wrong bushes.
In the wrong bushes. Landed in the wrong bushes. But then this is the funny part now. When they pull up next to me, I'm praying that God don't let me die. So when he pull up next to me, he leans out the window and he politely says, excuse me, sir, have you seen a black guy running this way? I said, yes, I did. He went up the hill running.
Oh, man.
Hey, I had to walk back to the hotel. When I got back to the hotel, the guitar player, Charlie, we had a guy named Jap managing us at the time. They was all standing at the door. Boy, you talking about somebody got chastised for that? Oh my God, man. Them guys chastised me so bad I wanted to fight, but I knew I couldn't win. If I'd have tried to fight them, I knew I couldn't win because all of them was going to jump on me. So I said, I just keep my feelings to myself and just be quiet. So we went on. We had a gig that night in Fresno. When the song at the gig, gig was very good.
Right.
Money was sweet. Everything was cool. And I met Ruby. And we talked or whatever, and we stayed in contact with you after I got back to Georgia.
Who is Ruby now? You talking to
Ruby?
You said Ruby like we know who she is.
No. Well, Ruby was a young lady that I met at the concert.
Wait, hold on a second. Now how old was you?
Wait a minute. My teens, man. I'm in my teens, bro. I'm in my teens.
Got married. Well, your first wife?
When I first got married, I was 21.
Okay, you were 21.
I was 21 when I first got married. I never will forget it because on my 21st birthday.
So this is Deborah we're talking about.
We're talking about Deborah now. Okay. On my 21st birthday, Deborah told me, because I had done flew back from California. She told me, she said, if you go back to Cali, you're going to lose the rights to see your children and me. I said, what do you mean? She said, you know what I mean. At that time, Deidre, we were staying around the corner from you in Greenbrier, remember?
All right.
Because after I came back from Cali, that's when I got to church. I got to church maybe 4-5 months after I got back. But it was a wild ride, Doc. I mean, man, it was crazy, man. But I truly can say that.
Let's go back to Ruby. I want to hear more about Ruby.
There's really no more to tell because we were sitting at wait a minute. We were sitting I never forget it. We were sitting at the table. And my grandfather had died on my dad's side. And it was coming up on Thanksgiving. And when they called me and told me that Tom had died, she looked at me, she said, what's wrong? I said, my grandfather done passed. She said, so, and I mean, she was very careless with it. What they got to do with me? I said, what do you mean? I said, at that time, I wasn't doing no gigs. I had no money. I was just out there. But she had 3 nail salons. She owned 3 nail salons, and she was pretty well off.
Wow.
And so she looked at me and just blankly told me, said, I'm not sending you back to Georgia. I said, not even for my granddad's funeral? She said, I am not sending you back to Georgia. So I called my old record company owner, Melvin Couch, who's dead and gone now.
Gotcha.
Called Mel. I told Mel what was going on. He said, let me call around and I'll call you back. Cell phones was nowhere in place then. Everything was landline and beepers. That's all you had.
Right.
And so he called me back in about maybe 45 minutes, 60 minutes, something like that. And he said, go on and pack your bags. I said, do what? He said, go on and pack your bags. When you pack your bags, there's a store. This guy was part of the Gambino crime family. He was a hitman.
Wow.
He said, there's a store across the street from where you stand. There is a Western Union in there. Go in there, show them your ID, and get that money, go to the airport and fly back home. Just like that. I was like, okay, cool. I get back home. I'm at Dad's for a night. Deborah find out I'm back. She comes get me. We sitting at the house and everything. She tells me, she said, listen, I know you're trying to sing. I know you want your career, but I can't live like this no more. And I looked at her and said, what do you mean? She said, either marry me or leave me alone. I said, man, I don't want to get married. I'm 21 years old. What do you mean? Nigga, I'm just now starting to live. What are you talking about? You know, I'm just getting where I can buy cigarettes legally. You know, I don't have to hide anymore. And you talking about marriage? I said, oh my God.
So let me stop you just a moment. Are you saying that gospel singers are not all saints?
Who is? Who is?
Right.
You know, quartet singers have vices as well. People tend to put them on a pedestal because of who they're singing about. And what I try to relate to people is because I have sinned doesn't exclude me from loving God. That's just like being with a woman. You can love a woman, do what's right by a woman, but still want another woman. That don't make you say you don't love the woman you with.
I couldn't agree more.
You understand? So as and I try to relate that with people. I've tried hard all my life to try to do the right thing, but yes, I have fell along the way. I've never been. I haven't went as far as some quartet singers I know, but I have touched the line. I have touched the line.
Let me ask you this. I said gospel, you said quartet singers. What's the difference between a quartet singing touring van and an R&B touring van?
There really is no difference.
Wow.
It's only the genre. It's only the genre. You know, there are many gospel hits that have been made from R&B artists that gospel quartet singers have taken and made hits out of it. Let the Sunshine In. That was Fifth Dimension. That was Fifth Dimension. The Violinaires took Let the Sunshine In and made it a major hit. You know what I'm saying? They took an R&B song, turned it into a gospel song, and it became one of their biggest hits. So when people ask me that, I tell them quick, there is no difference in an R&B group and a gospel group. They're the same. It's just the genre. That's it. Yeah. You know, with one genre, you can do whatever you want to, and ain't nobody gonna look at you crazy. The other genre, if you do the same role, they gonna swear you're going to hell.
Izzy, you about to say something?
Oh, no, I was just gonna say I wanted to know the timeline of cause have you ever been just a single artist by yourself, or you have always been in groups?
I tried the solo thing. God bless me. I have worked with 3 Grammy and Stellar nominated groups. The Gospel Messengers out of Jackson, Mississippi, the Fantastic Violinaires. I worked with the Pilgrim Jubilees and other artists. So I was always group orientated. I'd never, tried the solo thing. But then after I left the Violinaires, a partner of mine encouraged me. He was like, hey man, you need to go solo. You got a name, just go solo, bro. Go on and make the money for yourself. And I tried it, but just didn't feel right. Then, this here, it's hard to work with, boy. It's hard. It's Negroes don't want to be on time. They don't want to rehearsal, but they want to come to the show. They don't want to buy clothes, but they want to be paid. Negro, are you serious?
Yeah.
We're not doing that.
Can
We're
you
not.
kind
We're
of
not.
give us a short? Can you kind of give us a short little synopsis of the timeline from when you started and the different groups you've been in and why you left to
Okay.
go to another group?
Round 12, 13. I started with the Violinaires. I was with the Violinaires from 12, 13, around 12, 13 up till I was like maybe 16 or 17. And we was in a concert one night. And at that time, the Pilgrim Jubilees was very hot. They had a hit record I called "Wanna Be Wonderful," and the drummer didn't show up. And they came to Charlie and asked Charlie, would it be okay if I played for them that night? And he was like, yeah, if you're gonna pay him. So I went out there and played for the Jubes. They liked me so good. We got in the dressing room. Clay was like, hey man, I need you to come over here with me. And I'm like, I can't leave the Violinaires. You come with me, I got you. So it was a hard decision. But the Jews were making some show enough money back then. So, here I am, this young kid. I stayed with the Jews up until I was like, I think I stayed with them about a year and a half. And then I started, I left them, started playing around with the Messengers. Played with the Messengers for a little while. Then that's when Charlie Brown, I went back to Charlie because Charlie had left the Violinaires and started the Saints. And the first gig we got was that 3-week tour in California. And so we shot out there for that. Then after dealing with the Saints, I dealt with the Saints up until I was like maybe 25, 26. And then I started singing with another guy that's been, he was with the Messengers as well. He was one of the original members. But when he left, he started calling his group the Soulful Messengers. And they was based out of Jackson, Mississippi as well. And so I went with him, Curtis Watson. I went with Curtis. I stayed with Curtis up until year before last. I want to say year before last. Wow, I stayed with Curtis. So I was with him quite a while. Curtis was about the longest one that I had been with. And it broke my heart to leave him. But he wanted me to do something I wasn't willing to do. See, first of all, in this business, money, business, and time is important. If you want me in a certain area, you have to make sure that it's going to be feasible, that I be comfortable. You understand what I'm saying? Right. If I'm not comfortable, then I'm not doing it. Guy called me. He was like, look, he wanted to say, Curtis, he's like 75, almost 80, so he getting his pension, he getting his retirement. So he just want to run the road. I don't want to do it like that. You know what I'm saying? This is a part of my income. So if I'm going to do that, I have to see some sort of payola. And if I don't see it, then guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to stay at the house. So he had asked me one time to go to Rochester, New York with him. And the guy that he was booking with, had it been somebody else, I probably would have went. But it was one gig, and we're talking about 14 hours. I told him, man, I'm not going to ride 14 hours for one show. I mean, on the way back, that one show going to be ate up in gas, food, knickknacks. By the time I get to the front door, I'm broke.
Wow.
Now, what would the payout have been for that, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, his Curtis' average was anywhere between 15 to 2,000. That's what he was charging. And like I told him, I said, that was still a little too little, because you got to look at it. He had a bass player that was coming from Murfreesboro, Kentucky. Right. At the time, he had me coming from Starkville, Mississippi. He had a guitar player coming from Starkville, Mississippi. Then he had a keyboard player coming from Clemson, South Carolina. So this guy got all these folks coming from everywhere trying to get to New York for $2,000, $1,500. You know what I'm saying? But he charged them to, but he didn't even get the 15. I'm glad I didn't go. I stayed at the house. I got the call later. I'm glad you didn't go, Joe. I said, why?
And y'all didn't get paid? That's not a piece. That's together. 1,500 together.
Together.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nobody makes $1,500 a piece but the Blind Boys of Alabama.
Mm.
Nobody makes that kind of money on the road.
Are they still performing?
They still performing. I did a show with them about 5 years ago. I went with them to Brevard, North Carolina. And I had to play drums for them. I went up and played drums for them. And when they handed me, when the white guy that was managing them, Charles, after the gig was over, he was walking around giving everybody their checks and all this old stuff here. And in a haste, he gave me Paul Beasley's check. Now, you may ask who is Paul Beasley. If you ever been to a black funeral, you're going to hear walk around heaven. That's who Paul Beasley is. And he gave me Paul's check by accident. And I opened it up. And when I opened it up, my heart started fluttering. I said, whoa, 2,500? Are you serious? Just for this? And I flipped it over and it said, Paul Beasley. I said, God, don't matter. So I had to go to Paul's room, give him his check. He gave me mine. I said, I ain't going to look at mine because I already know it ain't about $200 or $300. So when we got back to Atlanta, I went in my hip pocket, got the check out. Ricky's brother was getting them out the car. And I sat there in the car, cut the light on, took the envelope, opened it up. I said, Lord, I know it ain't going to be about $200 or $300. I looked at it, dude, for 1 hour worth of work, I made $1,500. But I couldn't go back to it because they had a permanent drummer.
Not many people can beat that. So you were drumming for them?
Yeah, I went up to play drum for them.
Very cool. Very cool.
It was a beer festival.
Let me ask you this: so why gospel music and why not any other kind of music? Is it something you had to call for, or was this something that you kind of fell into because your dad was a bishop, and you know, is that
have you heard of Johnny Taylor?
Say what now?
Have you heard of Johnny Taylor?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Okay. Disco Lady was wrote by a good friend of mine.
Okay.
He's dead now, Arthur Simmons. When Arthur wrote it, he wrote it way before my time. But when they came back and redid it, Johnny needed a band. Okay. And so Arthur called me. He called this guy named Versailles Sane. He called this guy named Roderick Kroon. Who else was it? It was Sam Delaney, I think it was, that was playing keyboards. Well, anyhow, we went to Jackson and we went in the studio. We laid everything, laid it just like he wanted it. So after we laid it, I told Versailles and them, we got outside. And at that time, again, I was smoking and drinking and carried on. And I told Versailles, I said, V, I don't want to do this.
Right.
What you mean you don't want to do it? And I don't want to do this. He said, well, just make up your mind after we do the first gig, because the next day we had a gig in Balzona, Mississippi.
Okay.
And so he was down there on this big car. So we went down there, man. We got through the gig, had an hour and a half set. We got through it. When he handed me my money, which was around, I think it was like 800, 900, something like that. When he gave me my money, I looked at V and I said, V, I still can't do it. He said, what do you mean? I said, I can't do it, bro. The conviction in me. You know what I'm saying? I can listen at blues all day long. But for me to actually, you know what I'm saying? For me to actually perform it, that's not in me.
Gotcha.
It's not in me.
So you talked about the Blind Boys. Is that group currently all the same members? And
no, actually, no. There's only one original member living.
So you were with the Violinaires. That's the name, right? Right. So like the Temptations, there was a struggle with who controlled the name, I think, and we've seen several groups have that issue. Did you go through that with the Violinaires?
No, because I never would pick up the name. Gotcha. I never would pick up the name. When I left, I told the last set of Violinaires I was with, when I leave, I'm leaving y'all right here. Mm-hmm. What do you mean? You still with Charlie? I said, it doesn't matter. I don't need the headache. So me and Charlie Brown had already established the Saints. So I just went back, grabbed my name, because that's my name there. My name is on the dotted line registered. So, you know, I have total control because there's no more original Saints living. I'm the only one. So I have total control over that name. And so I had a guy one time, though. He played bass for us. He didn't play that long. He played maybe like 3 years, something like that. Probably wasn't even that long. And after I went back to the Violinaires, and Charlie went back to his group that he had, he decided he would pick up the name The Saints.
Okay.
So he was running around Atlanta, singing at these local programs, picking up this little money, talking big talk, what he doing, this, that, and other. And so when I left the violinist, I said, well, Lord, I'm going to pick the Saints back up. I'm going to go and find me some guys that's willing to, do what's right, and let's put this thing together. Gotcha. It took me a minute. It took me a minute. But I didn't want to pick up the name. Right now, the violinist name is so messed up, man. It's pathetic. I'm just being honest. You know what I'm saying? Most promoters won't even touch them.
So your group that you're currently with, or that your group is the original Saints? Is that who you're currently performing with? And how many are you a quartet or?
We are quartet. We are quartet. And I try to keep my numbers down because I learned a long time ago, if you got a bunch of folks on the floor, you ain't gonna make no money. And I've seen groups hit the floor with 10, 12 folks and they ain't getting but $1,000. Wow. Are you serious?
So what's the importance of a quartet and the actual sound, like being able to cover like the different sounds that you need to perform? Well, here's the importance.
Here's the importance that I stress to a lot of people. The first thing, you have to have your own identity. Majority of the little groups I hear now, when I hear one, I done heard them all.
That's right.
I done heard them all. So where is your identity that people can identify? That's the Saints. You know what I'm saying? The older groups have their identity because they was before your time. So they're established on their sound. When you hear the keynotes, you know who the keynotes is. When you hear the violin, you know who the violin is. When you hear the Pilgrim Jubilees, you know who the Pilgrim Jubilees is. But these groups today, they don't want to work. A lot of them just want to hit the floor, want to sing, get their little change, and go home. And then they wonder why they still stuck in that same little area that they're in. And the importance of, with far as the quartet is concerned, I've always believed that great things can happen in numbers, but not too many if you got the right folks. See, that's the thing. You can't put anybody in your village and expect for it to run smoothly. You know what I'm saying? And you can't pick up any musician. Man, listen, I've turned down a lot of musicians that I know bad. I know they're bad. Can play the crap out of a guitar, play the crap out of a keyboard. But you know why I won't fool with them? They minds.
Okay. So the quartet can consist of 5 members that's playing instruments, or we talking about 5 vocalists? That's what I'm trying to.
We're talking about 5 vocalists that can play 5 instruments.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about. Now with my camp, I got 5, but everybody's doing something. Ain't nobody just standing around holding the chord. My son plays drums. My guitar player sings in the background and plays guitar. Then I have my brother-in-law singing in the middle. Then my brother is singing top. Then I got a bass player. I don't have anybody just standing around because that's too loose money, man. That's
so it's mostly a family affair.
Well, I wouldn't say a family affair. It just fell into my laps. Okay. When I first got back, I was hanging with my future brother-in-law. And he was just singing around the house one day. I was over there, he was singing around the house. I stopped him, I said, "Hey man." He said, "Yeah. You want to go on the road?" Huh? I said, I got at that time the violinist had been bugging me. And this particular gig they needed a middle singer. And he had the voice. And I said, "I'll show you, how to keep your voice in control to sing for him." He looked at me, he said, "Bro, I'm not crazy. I'm not finna sing with no violin." He said, "Man, them folks sing so high. Man, I be done busting my gut." I said, "Well, you missed the opportunity." So when I started reconstructing my group, I thought about him and I went and got him. And it's been a great decision that I made. He's a great guy. Don't give me no trouble. You know what I'm saying? He's on point. He takes constructive. Lord have mercy, my tongue getting tired. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. He takes it well. He takes it well. You know how most people, when you try to tell them, "Hey, your key is off. You're not holding your breath here." You don't tell me. I've been singing this long. But where have it gotten you?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
a lot of people can't take criticism well. They can't take it well.
Yeah, and
Well, you know what I'm
wanted to
trying to
ask you-
say.
Yeah, constructive criticism. I wanted to ask you. I noticed you had mentioned Grammy nominated people. Like, can you speak on that a little bit?
Well, my work consists of with the Blind Boys, the Gospel Keynotes, the Violinaires, the Messengers. The Messengers got nominated for a Grammy for You've Been Good to Me. Willie Banks wrote that song years ago. And back in, I want to say 92, he got nominated. He got nominated for a Grammy. And at that time I was a member. But I was drunk, and that's why I say, man, God has brought me through a lot, bro. That's why when niggas be talking, I just don't even pay it no mind, because at the end of the day, I know where he's brought me from. Man, I was so drunk and high, I didn't even make it to the ceremony, bro.
Wow.
Banks was so mad he didn't give me one. He was pissed, and he told me that I'm not giving you nothing. He was pissed.
They actually won. They actually
won one.
Oh wow.
Okay.
You didn't say that before.
You said nominated. I know they won one.
Okay.
They won a Grammy, and they got nominated for a Stellar.
Okay.
The Keynotes got nominated for a Grammy. The Violinaires got nominated. And the Jews got nominated. But Banks took it home. You know what I'm saying? Because at that time, man, he was killing folk, man. I'm talking about man, listen. He was a cross between Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde with a pistol. Wow. He was a great big old tall man. Banks stood about 6'8", 6'9". He weighed maybe 250, 260 pounds. And he had this fascination with old cars. He loved old cars. I'm talking about when he was living, his whole yard was just full of old antique cars. And when we wasn't on the road, he'd be at the house tickling with those cars. And when we had a rehearsal one evening, he said, I'm going to go back and re-record You've Been Good to Me. And I looked at him and I said, why? You done got all the money you going to get off of that? He was like, no, I had. He said, no, I had. And he re-recorded it. And bruh, when I tell you that thing took off like wildfire. Yeah. It took off like wildfire. I don't care what church you go to. I don't care what funeral you go to. If they know anything about the message, they're going to say, you've been good to me. They're going to sing that. You've been good to me and walk around heaven. They're going to sing them two songs, bro.
So he knew what he was doing.
Banks was a master, man.
Wow.
Willie Banks and Charlie Brown, to me, was probably the most masterful singers that I've ever seen in my life. I mean, when I tell you these guys, man, Charlie Brown had a knack for molding people. And he was stern now, because when I was with him, because I stayed with him. We lived on Kent Road. He would wake up 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, come downstairs, get us all up, grab your guitar, grab your sticks. Come on, I got something in my ear. And I'm looking at him like, man, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't care. Get on them drums. I hear something. And he would drill us until we finally got it. And so I thank God for the groups that I've worked with, even now. Me and Ricky McKinnon, which is the business manager and background and lead singer for the Blind Boys, are very good friends. Me and Ricky talk on a constant basis. Matter of fact, I'm supposed to be going in his studio here real soon and record this next project.
Sounds great, man. Sounds great. Let me take this moment here to welcome all of the people here who are just here to watch you and say thank you guys for checking out Two Mindsets. We're still going. If you want to see more conversations like this one, be sure to hit that subscribe button and go ahead and hit the like button for us also. And I don't know how much more time you have, Lil Charlie, but we're going to keep going for now. You are a man of faith. How has that helped you with your health situations that you mentioned earlier?
How can I describe that, man? You know, people that have gone through less than I've gone through have completely lost their minds.
Wow.
People have lost their mind. They've given up, committed suicide, turned their life over to the devil, you know, just gave themselves over to the streets. But when they diagnosed me with lupus, that was the beginning for me. When they diagnosed me with lupus, man, I thought my world was going in. I kept trying to figure out why I heard it all the time. I just ached all the time. And no matter what I did, the pain wouldn't stop. And so, years down the road, after still traveling, I'm still running the road, I'm still doing everything.
At what age was that initial diagnosis?
I was 22.
Wow.
When they diagnosed me with lupus. But I fought. I never would claim it. But I never would forget an old lady used to tell me all the time, baby, because you don't claim it don't mean it ain't there. So I never would acknowledge it. You understand what I'm saying? Absolutely. I just kept fighting. And in my fight, my body was just ravished, man. I mean, when they first died, there are 3 different types of lupus. Okay. You have the form that works on your blood, you have the form that works on your immune system, and you have the one that works on your joints. The one I have works on my joints. And when I tell you there are days, man, my stuff is so bad, bro. Right. They was giving me morphine at one time. They was giving me morphine pills. Well, I still got some now, but they gave me that. They gave me more morphine for another situation, which I will get to. After the lupus, they came back, and I went to the doctor just for a routine checkup. Right. Routine checkup at the rheumatologist. And he come back, he said, your numbers are off. And I said, what do you mean? He said, your numbers are off. So they made me stay. They kept me overnight. The next morning he came in, he said, your kidneys are failing. Wow. I said, what do you mean my kidneys are failing? I didn't know it. I'm walking around looking like I'm looking now. He said, your kidneys are failing. I said, what do you mean my kidneys are failing? He said, your kidneys are failing. He said, I'm going to put you on a temporary dialysis regimen. I looked at him and I said, no, I'm not doing that there. He said, you're going to have to if you want to live. So when they first put the shunt in me, they put it in the upper part of my arm. It kept blowing out. It wouldn't stay. It wouldn't stay, kept blowing out. So finally, one of the nurses said, well, maybe if we put it in his chest, maybe it'll stay. So they put it in the upper part of my chest in my fat meat, and it stayed. They taped it down. I took dialysis from 4 in the morning to 12 noon every day for 6 weeks.
Yeah, great.
Every day for 6 weeks. And miraculously, he come in one day after doing a test. He said, I don't know what happened, but your kidney's working fine again. Wow. I said, you gonna take this thing out of me? He said, yeah, I'm gonna take it out. I said, take it out then. And I tell folks, man, dialysis is a booger. That's a booger. Especially if you real cringy when you see your blood. Yeah. Boy, it's rough. Seeing your blood be drained out your body, go through a filter, and then come back in and just shoot it back in your body. Man, that's hard.
At what age? At what age was the dialysis? That particular?
The dialysis was around maybe 25.
Oh wow!
Around 25. Around 25.
Yeah.
And the drinking wasn't helping. It wasn't helping. I had gotten to where the bottle was my life. I would go at this time. I had to start doing commercial roofing, and I would go work, come home, get drunk. That was my life. And after my divorce in 2013, I met the girl I was dating out of town. Got there, I got sick again. Went to the doctor. Doctor said, I'm gonna schedule you a biopsy. They scheduled me a biopsy. They did the biopsy. She come back 2 or 3 days later. She come in her office holding a vanilla envelope.
Right.
And I looked at her and I said, you don't have to tell me. She said, what do you mean? I got cancer. She said, how do you know? I just know. She said, well, you're right. I said, well, how bad is it? She said, it's not bad, but it ain't good neither. She said, we got to do immediate treatment. So at first they was giving me chemo and radiation at the same time. The chemo was making me so sick till I raised so much cane in there one day. I told him, I'm not taking no chemo. I do radiation all day long, but I'm not doing no chemo. I refuse to do it. I'm not going to do it. And it's hard to describe how that makes you feel with that mess going in your body. Oh my God, that is, it's awful, man. It's awful. So praying, I started fasting a lot, which is something I've gotten away from. I used to fast a lot and pray and meditate, but I got so much other going on now that I've gotten away from that. And I think that's why the devil is getting loose around me, because I'm not walking in that calling the way I was at first. And so we fast forward. I come to Atlanta 2021.
Okay.
I come to Atlanta for a funeral. A friend of mine had passed away that went to church with us. And I came down from Mississippi for his funeral. Got sick, didn't know what was going on. Me and Deborah divorced. At that time, we was pretty tight. We was friends.
Gotcha.
So he was like, you're not going back to Mississippi, in the shape you're in. Come to the house, you know what I'm saying, get you some rest in the morning, see how you're feeling. If you feel better, then, you leave. So I slept downstairs, the kids, in and out, making sure I was straight. So I still wasn't feeling any better. The next day, my baby that died, Jonathan, he come downstairs and put him a pallet right next to me. And I said, Jonathan, go on upstairs and get in your bed. He said, Dad, I'm not leaving you. I'm not leaving you. I'm gonna stay right here. I'm okay. I'm not leaving you. And so the next day, they didn't have to go to school. So by this time, my son, baby Jay, come downstairs raising Cain. Dad, get off that floor. Get off that floor. I'm finna get you a mattress, because the couch was messing with my back. So he had a blow-up mattress. So he blew up the mattress. I got on the mattress, man. To make a long story short, when I woke up again, I was in Greater Hospital. I had been in a diabetic coma for 3 days. Wow. And didn't even know it. I didn't even know, you know what I'm saying, that I was out that long.
Right.
I didn't know I had diabetes.
That's what I was about to ask.
I knew I was thirsty. I just knew I was thirsty. I was just thirsty, man. Listen, my intake at the time, I didn't know it. I didn't know my heart was going. So I got all this stuff going. I didn't know my heart was going. So I'm just drinking all this water. I'm drinking all this water. And when I woke up in Grady, they had 3 bags of insulin, a bag of potassium, and a bag of antibiotics, because I had caught a kidney infection while I was in the coma. So I mean, I had a lot, and I thank God that I'm still here to be able.
That's a lot.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, to just to be able. But my story don't end there. After being in Grady for like 3 days, 3 or 4 days, they come to me and they said, we're gonna keep you a few more days, see if we can get your sugar down. So when they got my sugar down, the lady come in, the white lady, she had kind of gotten attached to me, because I would tease with her. It wasn't nothing derogatory, just normal, friendly humor. She had been taking a liking to me. And so she come in the room. On her way in the room, she started crying. And I said, what are you crying for? She said, I hate to tell you this, but after we release you, we're going to send you somewhere else. I said, what do you mean? When they did the heart cath, your heart ejection fraction is at 5%.
Wow.
I said, what does that mean? She said, you are a walking dead man. I said, are you serious? She said, yeah, you're a walking dead man. So she said, is there anywhere you want to go that you have a preference? So she got to calling our name, Northside, Emory. I don't want none of them. Send me to Piedmont. Because I had Dr. Darlington at Piedmont treating me for another situation with my heart. So I said, well, if you're going to do something with my heart, send me back to Dr. Darlington. So they send me back to Dr. Darlington. I go to Fayetteville. They send me to Fayetteville, Georgia. I stayed in Fayetteville for about like a week. And he come in and he said, I'm going to send you home, Joe, but I'm sending you home with this machine. I said, with a machine? He said, yeah. So don't start fussing. They're going to have to run a line through your neck, down to your heart, and the little box. You're going to have to walk around with it like a purse. I said, I'm not doing that. I said, I'm not doing that. You crazy. Oh my God. I'm not doing that. I said, no, I'm not. Bro, I raised so much Cain in that hospital room. He just looked at me. He just looked at me and just shook his head. He said, you can raise all of the hell you want to, but if I release you, that's what you're going home with. I said, well, I guess I got to start raising hell. So they come in there They ran the line through my neck,
Right.
down through my breastplate, over to my heart, and they was giving me these small bags of medication to put in this machine. The machine will pump the medicine down to my heart. Now, this medicine was supposed to strengthen my heart.
Yeah.
It was supposed to
Yeah.
strengthen it. But after like a week, it never did. So he put me back in the hospital. So he kept me there for about another week and a half. He come back in there. He said, look, this is my last option. I said, what's that? He said, we have this machine called an LVAD. I said, what's an LVAD? He said, basically, it's walking life support.
Right.
Basically, that's what it is. You'll be running by batteries for the rest of your life. If you should become disconnected, you got 10 seconds to figure out what you're going to do. After 10 seconds, when the batteries start going down, you got 13 seconds to either find a charge or either, you're dead, because after 30 minutes, everything gonna start shutting down. So I was like, man, that's a little risky there, bro. You want me to wear something like that? He said, don't worry about it. Before you, decide what you're gonna do, there's a class that you got to take. I had to take an 8-hour class to wear this thing. I took the class and I told my children I wasn't gonna do it. And my daughter Miracle, she begged me. She said, Daddy, please take it. Please take it. Jonathan, please take it, Dad. Joe, please take it, Daddy. My son Ben, my daughter Raven, my daughter Lady, everybody, Daddy, take it. Please take it.
How many children do you have?
I have scattered out. I got 2 in Louisiana. I got one in Minnesota. It was actually 5 in Atlanta, but Jonathan passed.
Okay.
And then there's one in California. There's one in Lutherville. So I got quite a few, bro.
Gotcha. So we had not seen each other for a long time, and when we reconnected, you showed me your bag with the machine and the batteries, and I was like, "This is you like Iron Man with the thing in his chest. If he takes it out, he only has a little bit of time before he
Right.
Well,
Yeah, I'm not quite Iron Man.
You're not quite.
Not quite Iron Man. Not yet.
I got you. So
not yet.
We've been here for a minute, and I want to give you a chance to just put out what you're doing now. You're currently touring and doing shows. Is that right?
Well, I'm doing some light stuff. Not necessarily touring.
Gotcha.
We're not touring right now. I'm in the rebuilding stage of getting the group together. And so right now we just what we call in the quartet where we just been in the barn. We've been in the barn, but I do have a couple of shows coming up next month that we're going to showcase what we've been doing. November the 16th, we'll be in our hometown, which is Sandersville, Georgia. We'll be there. And then the 17th. Oh, matter of fact, my wife is from Sandersville as well. Awesome. So, my wife is from my honey bunny. She's from Sandersville as well. All right. And so we'll be there. Well, you was at the wedding. What I'm talking about?
I was at your wedding. That's right. That's right. Very happy to see you happy, man. For sure.
I am, brother. I was messed up for a long time, man. And but I thank God. I'm good now. But the 17th of November, we'll be here in Griffin, Georgia. My wife and her other brother and her daughter, they have a group, and they're having their anniversary here on the 17th. So we'll be on that. So we got 2 days worth of work coming up.
Are these 2 shows something that people can buy tickets for ahead of time, or do they buy at the door?
Well, with the show we're having in Sandersville, the admission is only $10, and I'm not getting no tickets print up. Just pay it at the door. Just pay it at the door. It'll be too much of a hassle to try to get tickets printed up and all of that garbage. Just it ain't but $10. Pay the $10 at the door and be done with it.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and do you have any social media that you want to share with the people on how they can reach you or maybe even book you?
Well, if you want to get in contact with the Original Saints featuring Lil Charlie, you may contact us at 478-870-8853. That's 478-870-8853. Or if you want to reach out to us on Facebook, you can get up with us, Joseph Brooks Jr. We're there. If you want to email us for like whatever, go to Lil Charlie at yahoo.com. And so, there are many ways to get up with us, and we're taking bookings. But we ain't trying to get too crowded right now, because like I said, we trying to get this thing together. Yeah, we're trying to rebuild, man.
And do you have it in you, Lil Charlie, to give us about 10 to 15 seconds of some soul-stirring Quartet music?
Oh, Lord Jesus, really?
Well, we got four right here. Go ahead, set it off. We got four.
Really?
We can rock the Quartet.
Give us a little song, just a little song.
I've been around this world, Lord, I've seen a lot of things, but none of them really got to my mind. Oh no. But ever since that day, Lord, woo, they were taking you away. That's when I made up in my mind, I wanted you to be mine. Let me say today, don't ever go away and leave me, Jesus.
All right. Lil Charlie, I like that. Very, very nice.
Yes,
very nice. You got to give the people something to so they know what they're getting
Hey,
into when
listen,
they come see you.
While we on the subject, if they want to purchase that record, that I Really Love You Lord album, you can go to Amazon, you can go to eBay, you can go to you can download it, Spotify. Where is it at? It's all over, just about all your digital outlets. You can get it.
So slow down for a moment and tell them exactly what they would be looking for when they go to those. What is it what's the song, and who's the group that they would see?
The group is the Saints. It's going to be the Saints featuring Charlie Brown. And the album is entitled the I Really Love You Lord album. It's entitled I Really Love You Lord. You'll see my mug on it. And then I have a solo single of my own called Quartet Stump that you can go to Pandora, Spotify, let's just say all of your digital outlets. You can go for that. And that's going to be, that particular project is going to be the original Saints featuring Lil Charlie. It's called Quartet Stump. That's my newest single.
Stump. I heard that one. I like that one, man.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
RJ, you got any more questions for Lil Charlie at the moment?
No, I know we're trying to wrap it up. I mean, I had some questions in mind, but
bro, go on and ask them, man. I ain't got no more time, baby. I don't work a job.
Well, I know life can be hard on the road. So how did you maintain? You know what I'm saying? As a young man, what kept you, on the right path while you on the road?
My dad, my dad, God bless his soul. My dad was a incredible man, and he was scary at times. As a youngster, he was scary at times. So even though I would be 1,300 miles away, I could still hear him say, "If you do that, God gonna get you. You going to hell." You know what I'm saying? This is what would resonate in my head even when I wasn't with him. So when I decided I wanted to do something, he would always, I could hear his voice say, that ain't right. You know that ain't right. That ain't the way I raised you. Don't do that. Don't do that. But then don't get me wrong. There are some things I ignored his voice and kept right on and went on and did it, but I paid for it later on. I paid for it later on. I never will forget, we was in Cincinnati, Ohio, and some groups got together in the hotel and they were having a drinking party. And so long and then, people was drinking what it was. It wasn't gin. It was what was they drinking long and then? Golly. It was just about nothing but like rubbing alcohol, really, to be honest with you. It was just that strong.
Everclear.
I forgot the name of it. But they used to mix it. They used to mix it with peppermint, pineapple. They used to call it a cold remedy. But that stuff will get you so drunk. I mean, man, it will get you tore up. And I was there that night, and I wanted to be like them. I wanted to be like all the older guys and everything. As long as this time, I was the youngest one out of that bunch because we all traveled in a package. And out of that package, I was the baby. So, when I got up in age, Charlie kind of took his hands off of me. He was like, well, I'm gonna let you do what you want to do, but don't go too far with the foolishness. And so I went to this little drinking party, man, and I was sitting there, I was just a sipping. It ain't bothering me. 5 minutes go by, I'm all right. I'm steady drinking. 10 minutes go by, I'm all right. I'm still drinking. Bruh, when I got ready to get up to go to the restroom, I fell flat on my face. I fell flat on my face. And a long time member of the Mighty Clouds of Joy grabbed my arm and picked me up. He said, youngster, this ain't for you. This ain't for you. I looked at him, I said, it sure ain't. Get me to my room. That's all you gotta do now. Just get me to the room. But I managed to maintain on the road. And here's the shocking scenario about that. I was able to maintain on the road. But when I got back home was when my trouble started. Mm-hmm. I started dipping and dabbing in drugs, doing all kinds of foolishness, started experimenting. And in my experimenting, I became an addict. I was an addict for almost 4 years.
Wow.
And nobody ever knew it. A lot of people didn't even know it. Yeah. I went to work every day. I paid my bills. I didn't sell anything. I didn't pawn anything. I did exactly what I was supposed to do. But every Friday, I was a weekend head. Wow. I was a weekend head. And after I would give Deborah the money for the house and the kids, anything that was left over, it was mine. I hit the street with it. I would be gone. If I didn't have to sing nowhere this Sunday, from Friday and Saturday, you wouldn't see me, period. You wouldn't see me, period. But I thank God. I thank God. I got friends that are still out there. And it breaks my heart because, I know there's a better way. But a lot of people don't want to change. Some people like where they are. So when you catch people like that, you have to just somewhat, I won't say totally take your hands off of them, but you have to back up and allow them to make the decision on whether or not they want to live a clean, drug-free life. And if they choose to continue,
transformation look like? What did your transformation from that look like to where you were not that, every Friday?
Every Friday now, I'm with my wife. Even before me and her married, down in Mississippi, every Friday, we would do what they call shedding, which a lot of musicians get together and we just play. We just play. So I would do that. That was my therapy. Wow. That was my therapy. I won't sit there and tell you it's been easy, because in certain situations, the devil has a way of messing with your anger and messing with your anger to the point to where it tells you you can go get one and it's okay.
Right.
Don't worry about it. Ain't nobody gonna never know. Ain't nobody gonna never know. Ain't nobody gonna know but you and God and me. Just go get you one. But after examining and playing, as they say in NA, because I went through a Narcotics Anonymous situation. Oh, wow. After going through NA, they tell us you got to play the whole pitch out. Yeah. Before you pick up, play the whole pitch out. What is it going to cost you for that 5 minutes of being in the air? What is it going to cost you? You understand what I'm saying? So, like I said, man, that there are days that it get hard, but then I pray. I immediately, when I see it, I pray, and I ask God to cast those thoughts out of my head, because in the shape I'm in now, I really would die. I mean, dog, if I chose that lifestyle again, I wouldn't be here 15 minutes, man. Yeah. And I know that. Well, the doctors done told me that. They said, if you ever pick up again, you might well kiss your life goodbye, because it's over. Wow. Cocaine get hard. Yeah. And once it get hard, it clogs up stuff. So if I ingest it, it's going to clog up this machine. It clogs up this machine, I'm dead. And I'm not trying to do that. I got a couple of grandkids I got to live for. Beautiful children, beautiful wife. I got great friends, got great cousins, Deidre, other cousins down in Sandersville. So, I got a lot to live for. And I can't allow the enemy to deceive me to the point where it's okay that I play Russian roulette with my life. Yeah, I can't do that.
It was one thing I wanted to ask you. We ain't trying to keep you too long, but I know.
No, I'm fine, bro. I keep telling you I'm fine.
Okay. I know y'all are starting up again, but as far as your condition with your heart, how does that work? You know, with you trying to maybe go back on the road, like how does that work? Like,
Well, I have a battery pack that I'm on batteries. So I have like I have 5 sets of batteries. I got 2 on the charger. I wear 2, and I got 2 in my emergency bag. And at night, when I go to sleep, I have a power bank that I hook up to. That I take the batteries off and I hook up to that power bank. Now, far as the singing is concerned, I don't know who's familiar with chords, but a G and a F is 2 of the highest chords you can sing in.
Right.
But I don't sing in G and F anymore. I put everything on the floor. Yeah, I put everything on the floor now. I don't know. No, I'm good on that. Listen here. I was riding the house one day and tried it. I ran the house one day and I tried to sing praising in the key that I did it in. And boy, let me tell you something. My chest got tight, my head got light. I said, oh, no, I ain't doing that no more. Period. No, ain't doing that no more. So, yeah. I mean, as long as I keep my keys low and I don't do too much movement, I'm fine. I only get dizzy. I start getting dizzy when I do all of that moving. That's the reason why I was telling the guys Monday, because they were like, we got to get a routine. I said, no, y'all got to get a routine. I'm not doing nothing. I'm not doing nothing, brother, but standing right here looking stupid. I'm not going to do all that. I can't do it anymore. You know, I mean, so yeah, man. I mean, far as that is concerned, I mean, the road, it wouldn't hurt me because I have what I need. And then the thing about wearing this airbag, I haven't done it. And I know what I'm about to say is a contradiction of what I'm about to say, but I'm supposed to report. I'm supposed to report to Pete Mount every time I cross the Georgia state line. Okay. Because they'll call ahead. They'll call ahead to where I'm going and see do they have an LVAD clinic to make sure that if something happens, there's a clinic there that I can go to. But, you know, I'm old school. I find it when I get there, which is, you know, it ain't right. You know, it ain't right at all, you know, but yeah, I find it when I get there. I'm not going through all that. I ain't gonna get on the phone call nobody asking me, can I leave and go out of town? I had the blind boys offered me back early up in the year to go to Paris, France. And I called the doctor. I said, doctor, because I had asked my wife I got now. I had asked her, did she want to go with me? I told her, get your passport. We're going to France. She thought I was playing with her, but I was dead serious. So anyhow, I called Dr. Dalton. I said, Dr. Dalton, I got a chance to go to France, man, for 3 weeks. Come back home probably with about 25, maybe 30 grand in my pocket. Can I go? That cracker told me no. I said, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? No, man. He said, if I let you go to France, you won't make it out of LAX. You won't make it out of there. I said, why? He said, because the altitude is going to blow that machine up.
Wow.
Oh.
And then it's like from Cali to France, it's like a 20-hour flight.
So can you fly at all? Like, can you fly from Atlanta to Texas? No? Wow.
No, because you know, even when I had to sing in Tampa, when I came through and was going to Tampa, Florida, I was going to fly from Jackson to here and catch the guys and ride on down to Florida with them. I called Dr. Dalton. He said, listen, man, you keep asking me about flying. You can't fly. you just can't. He said, if it ain't a boat or a car, you can't fly.
Wow.
Can't fly. So he blew me out the water, bro.
Wow.
Can't do no flying. Can't do no flying, man. I mean,
that's a big hindrance, I'm sure.
It's a large hindrance because see, this time of year is really prime time for making a little piece of money, more so than the early part of the year, because everybody having these Christmas galas and birthday parties and singings and all of that stuff there. I mean, you know, it's one lady out in Detroit, man. She have a Christmas thing every year. Right. And I was gonna try to fly up there to get back because I'm potentially waiting on another booking the next day. So
Okay.
if this booking goes through, then I got to get back in time enough for that gig. So I was like, I'm gonna fly. And I said something to Baby J. Baby J said, Daddy, you know you can't fly. I said, shut up. Just shut up. You just blowed everything. I was gonna take a chance. He said, Daddy, if you fly, that man that told you that machine gonna blow up in your chest. Stay on the ground.
There you go.
All right.
Well,
No
yeah,
problem.
man, we don't want you dying to go make some change, because it won't do you any good then.
No, you absolutely right about that. Hey, look here. With the way the world is set up now, hey, by the time they get my body back, it'll be all of that up in there. Yeah, by the time they get my body back, it'll be up all that little money.
Oh man. Izzy, did you have any more questions for Lil Charlie?
I didn't. That was it. That was it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So Lil Charlie, just one more time, tell them where they can get your single. I think
You can get my Quartet Stump on all of your digital platforms. You can go to Apple Music, Spotify, Pandora, like I said, all your digital platforms. I can't name them all because that's not my department. I just sang the music.
All
but
right.
Yeah, you can get them on all digital outlets. If you want to book the original Saints featuring Lil Charlie, feel free to give us a call at 478-870-8853. That's 478-870-8853. If you would like to email us information on what you're trying to do, you can do that by emailing lilcharlie@yahoo.com.
Lil Charlie, man.
Lil Charlie.
Right. Right. And to all your listeners, Deidre, don't forget November the 16th, right there in Sandersville, Georgia, 402 Evans Street, at the Washington Institute building. We're going to be there in concert along with groups. I got a group coming out of South Carolina, New Elevation, who's a very good group. Matter of fact, the manager used to play guitar for the Violinaires as well. So we are working together. Got groups from our hometown. And it's just going to be a nice situation. Our MC is going to be none other than Pastor Joe Pope of Glory to God Television over in Noonan, Georgia. The admission is only $10. Come, bring an appetite with you. We're going to have chopped barbecue ribs, chicken.
Oh, man.
Different sides, cake. Hey, man, you know how I do it, DJ. You know how
All right. Well, Lil Charlie, man, we appreciate your stories. I knew you would be a good guest. I knew you had the background and the history, the life that people would be interested in, and we appreciate your time. We're going to put the information about your show in the description under the video, and
do so.
We welcome you, and we'll have you back sometime, and we welcome the people who are here to watch you.
I would love it. I had a great time.
Absolutely. We ask that you guys go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Be sure to like us. My name is Dee Hill. We got RJ, we got Izzy, and our guest, Lil Charlie. It's been a pleasure, sir. Thank you.
Yes,
and like you said,
bless you, sir.
We're gonna have
God bless you, Izzy.
All right, now, brother.
Absolutely.
All right, RJ. Man, listen, y'all come and see me now. Come see me on the 16th. Y'all come see me. I want to see your face in the place.
We can definitely come through.
Thank you so much. God bless y'all, man.
All right, same to you, brother. Thanks for watching Of Two Mindsets. Take it easy.